Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get started. It is 2:31. I do see a lot of people that are still jumping on, but I do want to, I want to respect your time here. And I also want to make sure that we have time in the end to talk and to get through all of your questions that you might have. First off, I'm Gina Pavlovich. Also on here with me is Jill Davis. I'm the director of Niswonger Online, and she's the assistant director. And I'm going to talk to you about Niswonger Online today. But one thing I want to stress is that this question here that you see on this first slide, this is not a rhetorical question. I really want your feedback on this. I want to know if there's more that we can be doing at Niswonger Online to help your students that you may already have in your classroom, and to also help bring more students to your classroom. Before we begin, I do want to click over here to the CTE's webpage and first say hi to all of you and thank you again for being here. But I want to show you that if you come up here to the top of this chat box, you're going to see a couple of things that I've posted. One, the very first thing is a link to Niswonger Online. The second one, and this one I think is probably the most important because it's going to give you all of these other links within it, but this is a link to my presentation that I'm going through with you. And like I said, it has links within it. So you're going to be able to see Niswonger Online. You're going to be able to see mine and Jill's email addresses. You're going to be able to see a link to this, which this is a Google form in which I would this meeting is very large, which is super exciting, but we're going to have a lot of people here today. So that really just that one-on-one talk about how can I really help your kids, which may be totally different than how I help other students. We're not going to be able to do that today. And so I would love to get your contact information and connect with you and meet with you or you and your team sometime in the next week or two and just talk this out even more and give even more details and really talk about your needs. So that's what this last one is right here. It's a link to a Google Doc that you can just complete very quickly for me, and then I'll get back to you first thing as soon as I can, because I'm really looking forward to some of you I know, but then there's a whole lot of people that I don't know on here, so that's really exciting. So please keep that in mind. That's always going to be there, but right now if you want to go ahead and pull up my presentation, you can, and you can, again, as I move through it, you're going to see some links, and you can click on some of those links to just help you get to some more information that you might need. So I said I'm Gina, and also on here with me is our assistant director, Jill. These are our email addresses, which are always a great way to get in touch with us. But I have to start this presentation out the way I start out every presentation. And that is just with a little bit of insight as to who I am and kind of my beliefs and, in education. Some people, they tend to see my job description. I'm the director of an online program, and unfortunately think that that means that I think all kids should be fully online kids and doing all of high school in an online environment. And that's really just the opposite, the complete opposite of everything that I stand for in education. And Jill and I both were classroom teachers well before we got into the online environment. And we really know and we understand all the benefits academically and socially that kids get from being in a classroom face to face with that highly trained teacher. But we also know that that's not always possible. And so that's where we come in. That's where the Niswonger online program comes in, and the Niswonger Foundation is, you know, we know that in a school of 150 kids, if you've only got 5 kids who want Latin, you can't hire a Latin teacher for that, you know, and so we understand that. And so what we want to do is really provide the next best option. We still want to give them that option, give them that opportunity. And thankfully, due to all the technology today, we can do that in an online environment, and we can do it very effectively. And I can hire the best Latin teacher in Tennessee, and he can be my Latin teacher for all of our students across the state. So I do want to stress that. And like I said, I say that at the beginning of everything I've ever done, because I just want to set that out there and just make sure everybody understands where we're coming from as the directors of the foundation. I also want to talk a little bit more about just who we are, what are we doing, why we're here. If you live in Northeast Tennessee, then you've heard the name Niswonger. We've got a Niswonger Children's Hospital, a Niswonger Performing Arts Center, the Niswonger Foundation. If you're in education in Northeast Tennessee, you've definitely heard of the Niswonger Foundation. And our founder, Scott Niswonger, he has done amazing things throughout our region, all with the mindset of he just wants to give back to the community that has given him so much. The Niswonger Foundation, our educational foundation, was founded in 2001. And in 2010, we were actually awarded a federal I-3 grant, and we offered our first online courses in 2011. So I can't, it's crazy saying this, but we're almost a decade old. Our Niswonger online courses and many of our teachers, they have all been working with us for almost a decade now. And what we were doing was, this grant was really focused around college and career readiness. And we went in with the mindset of how can we level the playing field for our students? How can we give them the opportunities and academic choices of other students that other students may be getting from other parts of the state in larger school systems or larger high schools. And I think that many of you will kind of give me a big amen when I say that when you're talking about rural America, there's no such thing as school choice. That's just not an option. Many of our students, their second choice of a school could be 2 hours away, or it could mean they're driving down from the top of the mountain down into the valley, and no one is going to want them to do that in the middle of January, right? And so we knew that there were amazing students everywhere, and they deserved these options and these opportunities. And so again, we just thought, okay, how can we then take the courses to them? And the online environment was really the best environment, and was really just came out of a need of all of our local high schools here in Northeast Tennessee who wanted to give more options to their students, but just weren't able to in their brick and mortar schools. We also offer some online CTE courses. And again, if you go to niswongeronline.com, you can see all of our courses. But we've really had our biggest impact in the CTE area has not really been in the online environment, but within the classrooms. Because we all know, I mean, most of these CTE courses, there's no doing a CTE, a cosmetology 1 course fully online. Now we have an intro to cosmetology elective, but it is not a CTE cosmetology 1 because we can't, our kids can't mix those formulas that are needed for disinfecting, combs and things like that. And so what we want to do, and what I'm hoping to kind of talk with you about today and get some feedback with you from, is just that idea of not necessarily offering more online, which more online may help you because there are intro courses that we can definitely offer in a fully online course, but not necessarily just offering more online, but offering, giving kids access to take other general ed courses online, and then being able to have more time in the classroom face to face with you, which is where, like I said, that's where they need to be, right? Um, I do want to talk about another piece of our work that is so exciting. We've been doing a lot of work in the work ethic diploma area, and I wanted to quickly bring your attention to what's being done by my colleague, Law Loving. Some of you may have attended his session yesterday, but in case you did miss it, I wanted to share that he's developed an online tracking system that it's free to every school. Like, I don't want to point that out. It is free to your school. And what it does is it really cuts down on the work and the time that so many of you, your paraprofessionals or your counselors or someone in your school, all that time that they're having to put in to track points for the work ethic diploma. I also love this system because it really puts the work into the hands of the students. So the students are given accounts and they log in and they go in and, for example, they can upload a document that shows that they've met a standard. And then what happens is someone from your school then goes in and they can quickly accept or decline that. And if it's accepted, then the system gives them their points. And it's just such a user-friendly, just an amazing thing that Law has put together. It also brings together industry and students. So if you want to learn more about this, I just highly recommend Work Ethic Diploma, or email or call Law Loving, and he would love to talk to you about this more, and of course can explain it 1,000 times better than I can. So let's get back to Niswonger Online, though. I just want to remind you, these are not rhetorical questions, okay, guys? So I'm getting ready to give you some insight into how we're currently helping students across the state. And in all schools, in all systems, it looks a little bit different. And that's okay. And that's great, because that means we are really meeting the needs of those students. But as I talk, again, if you have any questions, please put those in to that chat box. And also remember that Let's Talk link for that Google form. But I will talk about that even more later, don't worry. But the big question is, is there a way that we could help in the online environment to bring more courses to your classroom? And I'm talking about your students who have a CTE concentration. If they were doing a course or two online with us, could that help them further along their study within their own concentration? Could that help them move to a dual enrollment course at a local college sooner? And then I also want you to think about those kids who are not on the CTE track, but we all know that they need a lot of the skills that your CTE teachers are teaching, especially those, Microsoft and Google Docs, and just especially skills like that are no longer just like, oh, that's a nice skill to have. Those are true life skills, and we know that all kids need those. So please keep all that in mind as I talk to you about this. So ways in which we help. First off, we work with kids from all different types of school systems. We have kids who are in a high school with 2,300 students who can offer every class you can think of, just about every time period during the day. However, our biggest enrollments come from these smaller schools. I'm all the time hearing, oh, we have a small school. We have a tight schedule. And so what we're trying to do with our online courses is we're trying to help kids free up that tight schedule so that they can really focus on things that they want to do, courses that they really have an interest in. They can be in those courses face to face with those teachers while they're getting graduation required courses online with us. So if you look at 1 and 2 here, these are kind of the same thing, but just for different groups of students. So I was a big band nerd, and in high school, every semester of every year, I was in band. My senior year, spring semester, I don't even know how this was possible. I was in band twice. 2 block periods a day were band for me. And I was lucky. I went to a large school, and I had a schedule in which I could do that. But some schools, that's very difficult to do, and no one wants to be the person who tells like a junior who's really loved their JROTC experience. No counselor wants to be the one who says you can't do JROTC because you don't have a personal finance credit yet. And so we're helping a lot of kids in that situation because they're taking personal finance, economics, government. They're taking courses like that online with us. And again, it's freeing up their schedule so they can be in something that they really want to be in, that they're really interested in. It's the same for AP or honors students. They will take some required courses for us, with us, to try to help free up some spots to maybe take another AP at their school, or to even take an AP course that's not even offered at their school. And that takes me to bullet number 3. About the last time I looked at it was back in the fall, and it was around 50% of our students were taking a course with us that was not offered in their brick and mortar school. So they were at a school that only offered Spanish 1 and 2 for a foreign language. Well, with us, they were taking French, or they were taking Latin. And now starting this fall, we're even offering American Sign Language all 3 years, if kids even want to go that far. We had students who were taking AP with us that within their high school only offered 1 or 2 AP. And so they were able to get in. We have 8 online advanced placement courses with Niswonger Online. So they were able to really get in a lot more options in that AP field. So just the idea and the opportunity, also fine arts and some electives. We have various fine arts and various electives that kids can take with us that again, just oftentimes, like we have an amazing photography teacher who has taught online with us for years. And a lot of these students were, visual arts, photography is just not an option for them at their school. So just helping those kids have those options and have those opportunities is really exciting. If you look at the 4th bullet, you can see that we do offer a summer school option. And again, this is just another way for those kids they like to say, get a credit out of the way. I'm going to get this credit out of the way during the summer. We have an 8-week summer program, so that next year when I'm in the school, I can take another CTE course, I can take another science course, I can take whatever, another art course, whatever they're interested in. Number 5, we also have, and this is fairly recent in the past couple of years, we have expanded down to the 8th grade level, and we are allowing 8th graders to take courses, high school courses, with us as an enrichment program. Now, every school is different. These are district decisions, but if your school allows for 8th graders to earn high school credit, then your 8th graders, those high level 8th grade students, they can, during their 8th grade year, take online courses with us. And it's funny, it's almost like a dual enrollment for middle school students. But this all came about because one day I went to a very small middle school in Carter County, and the principal said, Gina, do you see that girl over there making copies for me? And I was like, yeah. He said, that's one of the smartest girls I've ever met in my life, and she needs to be doing something other than making copies for me right now. And I said, I love it. Let's do it. What do you need? And since then, we've started this program. We've allowed 8th graders will take their first year of a foreign language with us. They will, another big course that's used a lot is they'll take personal finance or economics with us. And again, if that is something that can be transferred to the high school, then it just helps get those kids started on another level, and it helps open up their high school career from the beginning to be able to, really focus on courses that they want to take. And then finally, number 6, this is my soapbox, and I could spend the entire 45 minutes here today talking to you guys about this. But, you know, I talked about like AP students, and I've talked about 8th grade enrichment for those higher level 8th graders. But I just want to stress that online learning in high school is something that all students should be introduced to, like bare minimum. The computer skills and the soft skills that they're going to learn is going to be, like I said earlier, it's life skills now. It's not something that's nice to have. It's something that we have to have. And Jill was talking to me the other day, and she said, you know, our courses are more than just a way for them to check off those graduation requirements. They're learning so much more. They're learning French, but then they're also learning how to communicate professionally online. And something that I hear a lot, and I think you guys are going to understand this more than any group that I ever talk to, but people will say, oh, online teaching, that must be easy. These kids know everything about computers. And no, they don't. You know, they know about TikTok and Instagram. And if you have a block on YouTube, I bet there's somebody who can find a way around that really fast. But, you know, every time I have so many times I have been talking to a kid and said, oh, just upload that to an email and send it to me. And I mean, I could have just said that in Latin and they would not have, you know, it would have not been understood any worse. And so just all of these skills that we know they're going to need, no matter what they go into, no matter what their post-secondary plans are. We know they're going to see it at the universities. We know they're going to see it at all community colleges. Most of our TCAT courses are turning into what we call flipped classrooms, where the students are at home at night going through lectures, going through PowerPoints, learning that kind of background information so that then when they get to the TCAT, they can have their hands on that motor or whatever courses that they're in. And so we know they're going to see it then, but you know what? They're also going to see it when they go directly into the workforce. I will remember that my very first job was at Dairy Queen, and I walked into Dairy Queen and they handed me an application and I sat down at the table and I filled it out and I turned it in. That doesn't happen anymore, right? I mean, I don't know where that could even possibly happen at, but I have a niece who a few years ago turned 16, wanted to get a job at McDonald's. To get a job at McDonald's, before they would even call her for an interview, she had to fill out an online application. She had to upload multiple documents, plus she had to take an online math test. And if she didn't do any of those, and if she didn't pass that online math test, she would not even get called back for an interview. So again, those life skills, that learning how to collaborate through Google Docs, learning how to basically learn through different platforms and learn different programs. And like I said earlier, just how to email professionally. You know, we're always, the first week of school in online learning is the teacher saying, this is not Twitter. Please do not write me like it is Twitter. You know, you need to capitalize the I when you're writing professionally, and you need to spell check. You need to check your grammar. So just all of these things that, again, all kids are going to need that experience and that information. They're just, and I don't blame them for this at all, but you know, technology to them is social media and gaming and entertainment. And so what we need to show them, and I know what you guys, a lot of you guys do, which is why I want to get so many more in your classroom, is you show them how to be professional in the online environment. I just want to say really fast that there's a bad storm around me. I hope I'm not cutting out, and if I do cut out all of a sudden, please forgive me. My lights just flickered a little bit. So I told you that we serve students across the state. We actually are working with 25 different systems right now, 50 schools. We usually average 400 or 500 kids each semester. I did note on this screen some the systems or the counties in which we have students working with us. But I want to share, though, if you're sitting there and you're in Maury County, that doesn't mean we can't work with you. We would love to work with you. But if you're sitting in Hardeman County right now listening to this, then your kids are already taking classes with us. And if you think expanding out to some of your CTE students can help, then we're definitely here for you. But we can get together, like I said, with that Google form that is linked here. If you have my presentation pulled up, it's linked right here, or it is also linked in that chat box at the very top. But if you want to talk more about any of this, or just be a little more one-on-one, a little more personal with just kind of thoughts or ideas, or just to think things through, then please fill this out for me. Did you guys hear that? Can you hear that, Jill? This thunder is crazy here. Okay, so Jill, do we have any questions in the chat box that you want me to?
No, we haven't had any questions pop up yet. So if you all have any questions, Gina and I will be happy to answer.
Okay, excellent. And I'm just going to, yes, here it is again. Right here to go to that Google form, if you would like to just talk a little more one-on-one with me. And this is my presentation if you haven't popped it up, and it has links. And then, of course, nicewanderonline.com. I did not go into all of the courses that we offer, but you can find them by clicking on that link and then going into high school online course offerings. And you can see everything right here. You can even see some of the CTE courses that we offer. Those are taught by CTE teachers, and actually all of our courses are taught by licensed state of Tennessee teachers. A couple other just kind of nuts and bolts. We are NCAA so approved. So if you have any athletes who take online courses with us, that's not going to be a problem when they go on to post-secondary. And then all of our AP courses have been approved by the College Board. We are an approved online AP course provider.
Okay, Gina, we do have a question about costs, and we have a question about retention and performance.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say, Jill?
We have a question about costs, and then we have another question about retention and performance and transferring credits.
Okay, so the cost one, the best way for me to answer that question is for us to just get together and talk. So you can email me or you can fill out this form. Our cost is not difficult by any means, but we have, it depends on where your school is and just your school and where you're from, etc. But I would love to talk to you about the cost of our online classes. It's very affordable. It's much less than anything that any of the for-profit companies can offer, because we are a nonprofit education foundation. And then so please email me, anybody, or fill out this form if you want me to look up your school system and then give you some very solid cost on it. And what was the other one, Jill? I'm sorry.
Just about retention and performance and transferring their credits to post-secondary.
So the way that the credits are put on the transcript is as a transfer credit. So the school counselor, if the student is working from school and this online course they're taking for us is like a course they're taking during the school day, the school counselor will put them in a non-credit bearing course, like a study hall course, and the kids will work from a lab or a library throughout the day on our course. And then at the end of the semester, what happens is the counselor pulls that credit in as a transfer credit. So there's not any teacher of record or anything like that that has to be dealt with. So that's how they get our credits in. Now, some kids will take a full day at their high school and then take our course in addition to their full load. And in that situation, no non-credit bearing course has to be added to that student's schedule. They will just, again, at the end, pull that in as a transfer credit from Niswonger Online. Now, for the retention and things like that, our students, they do excellent in our courses. Do students fail? Yes, every semester. But students fail in our online courses for the same reason that they fail in your course. They just don't do the work. Kids will say, especially in the beginning, they'll say, oh, this is too hard, I can't do this. But the course isn't really hard. It's no harder than a course that's being taught in the classroom because we're following the same standards and everything. What is hard is they're just having to get used to that online environment. And once they do, I'm always telling kids, give it 2 weeks. Come on, 2 weeks. If you can get through that first module or that first unit, then you're going to know how to do everything. You're going to know how to submit an assignment, how to take a test, how to do an online discussion. You're going to then know how to do all of that. So all of that that's new and scary and kind of difficult is going to go away. And then all you have to focus on is that, the course, the French course or the Spanish course or the history course, whichever course that they're in. So we do, as the director, I'm always reaching out to schools. We have an SIS system that connects to our Canvas LMS, and all school systems, whoever wants an account, whether it's the principal, assistant principal, all of your counselors, the librarian who's overseeing your kids who might be in the library working, anybody who you want to have an account into our student information system, they will be given an account and they can log in at any time and they can check on their students. They can see the last time they've logged in, what their current grade is, and then they also have complete access to Jill and I to ask us any questions. And then in addition to that, to just make sure that we're keeping students, online and working, because this is hard. I mean, I'm older, let's say, and I'm in a doctoral program at ETSU right now. And you know what is really hard for me to do sometimes? It's hard for me to log in and do my online classwork because there's so much going on. And so it's hard as an adult. So it's hard for kids. And so we just really, the teachers, Jill and I, we just really work hard with all of the counselors and all of the school officials to make sure that they know where their students are at and how to keep them motivated to keep working and to keep moving. I hope that answered the question.
We do have a question about testing. If students test online or do they have to be proctored live? I know, for example, the AP test, obviously that would be different. Do we have other courses where students take tests with a proctor?
So we have, for all AP courses, those have to be taken at the school. So as an online AP provider, we cannot give the AP test. So the school sets it up just as if the kid had taken it in the classroom, and the student takes that test at the school. The same for the end of course testing. We cannot provide end of course testing because that of course cannot be done in a fully online environment. So the schools set that up and put that all together, and if you're in US history and geography online, you go in and you take that EOC test with all of your US history and geography students who took it in the classroom also. But with all of the other courses where there's no state or national standardized test, all of those tests are taken within the class. They're taken fully in that online environment. And one thing I will stress about this is that when it comes to online pedagogy and just teaching and learning in the online environment, my teachers we don't learn a lot from the little multiple choice quizzes or tests that we give, because we know that if a kid has taken a Spanish test with me and forgets how to say, how are you? they can pick up their phone and say, how do you say, how are you in Spanish, you know? And so multiple choice tests and things like that for the teacher, that's not how we get a lot of our feedback on how they're doing. All of our courses are project-based courses. They're constantly writing, they're constantly being asked. You know, in I teach personal finance, and I will be asking the students questions about what is opportunity cost, but then I don't stop there, because if I did, they'd say, what is, hey Siri, what is opportunity cost? I go further and I say, give me 3 examples of opportunity cost in your life this past week. And that second part and that writing right there is what lets me know if they really understand what an opportunity cost is. Now, with that said, I also teach our U.S. history course every year, and there are multiple tests, like multiple choice tests within that course, because they have to be prepared for an EOC test. And if they never see anything but projects and then are sat in a classroom that is a fully multiple choice test, then I'm kind of doing them a disservice. I'm not preparing them really for that test. So in situations like that, there of course are tests, but again, we really get most of our 99% of our information comes from the projects that we assign, and also the classroom discussions, the online class discussions that we ask students to do and that we participate in with them.
We have another question, Gina, about enrollment for the fall semester, because our website says courses begin on August 10th. And what about the school systems that are delaying their start?
Right. So we actually allow enrollments up until the end of August, and we always do, even well before the pandemic, because I know that the beginning of the year is crazy, and asking teachers to enroll 100 students the very first week they're back so that those kids can get in the very next week is difficult, and we understand that. And so what we will do is we'll work with your start date, and we'll make sure that the kids are in by the time your school starts. And we can expand later into the semester if we need to give them more time later on. It's very, luckily, you know, one great thing about the online environment is it's very easy to personalize everything. It's easy for our teachers to personalize the education for the kids, and it's easy for me as the director to personalize our system to where it works to whatever's best for your system to be combined and work with your system. So we do open our courses on August 10th, but if your kids cannot be in by August 10th, that's not an issue at all. I think we just have just a few more minutes. I think there's also an option where you can raise your hand and just talk. So if anybody wants to do that, feel free. I believe something will pop up for me, and then I can allow it so that your mic will be turned on.
We have a request to talk more about the costs.
Okay, so there are 2 fees, and again, this is something that varies by the school systems, and it's really based on just the size of your school and things like that. But we do have 2 fees that's associated with Nice Longer Online that all of our systems pay, and one of them is an annual fee. It's very small. The most your system, if you are a part of a very large school system, the most your school system will have to pay is $4,600 a year. But we have that fee, and what that fee does is it helps us cover a lot of our back end cost. That is all a part of, you know, learning in the online environment. And then we have a seat fee, and this is a per student seat fee, and that seat fee 100%, well 90% of it goes to just to pay our teachers. I told you that we have teachers from all all of our school systems, we open up and we ask, would any of your teachers be interested in teaching online with us? And when we get interest and we're able to line that up with a course that needs a teacher, then we love having those school systems have somebody who really understands it from the teaching side, because then, even if you teach English, if a student who's taking Spanish with us comes to you and asks you a question that's like a technical question, that English teacher is still going to be able to answer it, because it's all the same. No matter what class you're in, you take the quizzes the same, you upload the work the same, etc. So the seat fee goes to cover the stipend for our teachers that we hire. And that's something else that if you don't already, and your school system wants to start working with us and collaborating with us, that's something that I'll talk to you about very early on, is would you have any teachers who'd be interested in teaching for Niswonger Online?
Okay, we have a question about the math courses that we currently offer. We currently have geometry. Do we have other math courses that we're currently offering? I know we have some AP statistics.
Right. We have an Algebra 1 and an Algebra 2 course, but those are only offered in the blended setup. And I'll actually explain that really fast. But what happened, Marty, is that we originally offered Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and geometry fully online, and Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 just were not really used, and there's a few different reasons, but the biggest one I know is most of our tested subjects, those EOC subjects, they never have a big enrollment. Like I talk about teaching U.S. history. The last time I taught a U.S. history online for us was back in the spring, and I only had 5 students in it. And the reason why that is because when a student does an EOC tested course with us, the school has to figure out, one, who gets that test score, because it can't be given to any of our teachers. Our teachers are not teachers of record in your school system. So I can't be the teacher of record for that student who takes an EOC U.S. history online class with me. So we have to, it's just kind of difficult, and it makes it a little hard. And then there's questions of like, well, if you're putting a kid into online algebra, that we're going to make the assumption that that's a really good student. And so teachers were not liking the idea of some of those very good students being pulled out of their classroom and being put fully online. So anyway, Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, we have it, but we offer it in a blended environment. And what that means is that we allow teachers who work at school systems that are within our the Niswonger Consortium, we allow them to teach their students with our online course. And so and we call it blended because what happens is teachers grab it and they use it in the classroom. So they're blending that online technology in with their own instruction, and it's just helping to supplement and helping better their own teaching. And that is an option that is something that is going to be big this fall for us, because our local schools are, you've got teachers who have never taught in an online, that made me jump. You got teachers who have never taught in an online environment who are being told, can you guys hear me after that? That was crazy. Who are being told, you're going to teach remotely this fall. And they're like, what? And so they're not ready for that, and there's no need. I mean, they didn't have to be ready for that, and so I do believe that blended option that we call it is going to be really big for us this fall, because the school systems, they want your teachers, they want their teaching, of course, but they also want to give those teachers access to some online material. And so you know, we can always, any of you who might think that that's, oh, I want to know more about that, you know, again, fill out that form, that let's talk form, and we'll talk about it for sure. And we can see how we can get that, our online courses, into your teachers' hands for them to use. But we are now at 3:15. So do we have anything else, or I want to let you guys go at any time that you need to. Remember, again, the session keyword was bliss. And thank you so much for joining me and Jill here today. And again, can't stress enough, if you want to talk about anything further or even give any kind of feedback, ways we could help, anything like that, I would love to hear from you. Oh, I have a raised hand. Sorry, Karen. I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, I got it. Let's see. Okay, Karen, I believe you should be able to unmute yourself and we can hear you now. Are you there? I don't know. I can't hear. Well,
I wanted to make sure that we got the keyword bliss. I typed it in the box, but maybe it's slow with the storm.
yeah, I see a few people asking. Let me share my screen again. I unshared it so I could figure out how to allow Karen to talk, but then I think I lost her. Jennifer, if you wanted to ask me any questions, you should be able to unmute now. Okay, well, I am going to close everything out then. Thank you again to everybody. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And if you're over here on the eastern part of the state in this storm, be careful. It really did make me jump that one time. Did you see me? Okay, you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.